and welcome to Extreme Metal Television. I am your host, King. Check it out. Fancy new graphics and new background. Moving up in the world. Well, not really, but we're trying. Coming up in this episode, we have a chat with Death Metalers Without Mercy, and Dr. Gore speaks with Corporate Death from Macabre. Let's kick it off with a band profile, shall we?
Phantom Limb is based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, and was formed in 2009. The band recently released their first full-length entitled Mors Ontologica.
Well, conceptually, it deals with a lot of thematic ties to addiction. The album itself, called Mors Ontologica, is basically the plant of which the drug Substance D out of the movie and books, Scanner Darkly, is derived from. So thematically, it kind of runs with a lot of those themes of addiction, and Scanner Darkly definitely had a big play on the whole concept of the record, and I think that's pretty much sums it up. Phantom Limb started in the end of 2009 after Caveat dissolved. Basically, the band started out of the desire to write more progressive and adventurous type of material, and that's just where it all started, and it's definitely kind of blossomed into what the whole vision originally was. And now Joe is now in the band, which was also in Caveat, so it's definitely has some Caveat elements to it, but I think it, for the most part, it's definitely got its own sound and its own entity.
Yeah, I actually did it over the course of most of last year. Most of it was actually completed when I came on board with the band. Actually, we started adding some more stuff, so we actually went back into production again for an extra couple of months. So actually, we were originally planning on releasing earlier this year. Well, they were planning originally, but when I came on board, pushed the delay out. Well, we delayed it for release to actually add some more stuff, and now it's ready.
We're busy to follow this sign. Follow the lead behind the scene. With your mind and right away.
Alright, Dr. Gore here. Now, back in July, American murder meddlers Macabre came rolling through town, and we had a chance to speak with vocalist guitar player Corporate Death, and we asked them about their newest album, Grim Scary Tales.
It's from the earliest recorded killers I could find, I mean, this has been around since the beginning of man, killers and stuff, but the earliest recorded ones I started hitting on the Roman times, and it goes up to somewhere around World War I on this part 1 to Grim Scary Tales. But I will have a part 2.
And there is a part 2.
I will have a part 2. I just couldn't do it all in one album. It's just way too many songs, and it's hard to record that many songs and stuff like that. So next year I plan on coming out with part 2, which will take off somewhere around World War I, maybe a little before that, and go to modern times with more modern killers. So the two albums together is pretty much like the complete history of serial killers, the sickest ones that we could figure out,
Now, Macabre has such a diverse sound, and they incorporate everything from blues to punk to metal and even nursery rhymes into their songs. And we asked them about their history and how they developed such an interesting sound.
It progressed somewhat. I mean, from our early albums, I was a little more heavy-edged on the vocals, trying to be brutal all the time, but now as I go on, I like variety. I like to do different styles. It's more interesting to me. If I do the same voice all the time, it gets kind of boring for me, and I love to do stuff like karaoke and stuff. I got like 100 songs I could do at karaoke: Beatles, Elvis, Johnny Cash, and I like doing different voices and stuff like that. So I pushed it a little bit on Grim Scary Tales 1, but I think I'm going to push it even farther on part 2 and do more variety musically, vocally, and I think we can go any direction we want to go, as long as we sing about the killers and I probably wouldn't, probably wouldn't touch on rap or anything like that. But I mean, we could do like a country and western song or stuff like that. Anything we want to do as long as we sing about the Killers.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, we called it murder metal in the past, but I would probably refer to it more now as like murder music. But we'll always be heavy in there. We'll always have the heavy stuff.
Whenever I'm first introducing a friend to Macabre or somebody that's never heard Macabre before, I always say, this album is pretty much a history lesson in murder. It's like you're going to hear a lecture on.
Yeah, it's going to be a new course you can take at college, the history of serial killers, and I'll be the professor, and I'll have my little pointer. Here we have Exhibit A, Grace Budd's corpse, the corpus delicti, and here we have Albert Fish with his instruments of hell, a cleaver, a saw, and a knife.
I'm Guy.
I'm Sin.
I'm John.
I'm Brad, and this is Critical, and you're watching
Extreme Metal Television!
Vancouver's Without Mercy recorded their debut album at the legendary Factory Studios, which has seen the likes of Marilyn Manson, Billy Talent, and the mighty Devin Townsend roll through its doors. We asked the band what that recording experience was like.
Holy shit. Like, the coolest thing was we got a hold of the guy that owns the freaking place, and we asked if we could come down and do the record, and he said no, not until you come down and walk around and hang out. Yeah. So he immediately opens the door, lets us do a tour of the place, and you're in awe when you're a musician of our caliber, right? You're like, whoa, Devin Townsend was like right in that chair. I'm not supposed to be here. And let alone the engineer is disgustingly good. Like, the guy can do key commands in Pro Tools faster than I can type an email. Like, it's sick. He knows everything there is to know about mics, the sound you want to go. He's great at translating, so if you don't know dual reverb, delay, multi-effect pedal, whatever, you can just say, I want that sound that sounds like I'm hitting a tin drum.
He knows exactly.
Yeah, and then he's just like, click, click, you got it. Yeah. But the best part of the whole thing, at least personally for me, is we got treated like we were one of those big acts. That's the big thing that was really cool. The owner flat out says stuff like, I will not bump people. If you guys are in here and Slayer comes to the front door and they want this day, I say, I'm sorry, this band's in here right now. And we got treated so damn good that I can't say anything bad about the entire experience. We were there a total of 14 days to record, mix, master, all that stuff. And there's not one negative experience I couldn't make one up. Yeah. It's just 100% awesome experience. As musicians, there's 4 of us that were in the band when we wrote the album, and we totally each member is evolving at their own rate. And the cool thing about being in a band with multiple members is that everybody's into different stuff, and you cross an insane wide range of genres. And that all comes to play when we all sit down and write, because our writing process is everybody's in the room, everybody's got something to say, let's speak our minds. So really it's, I don't know, it just comes from everybody's ideas in one shot, and that's just the final product that we have.
Yeah. I think your ear develops based on what your influences are. And so again, like, because we all listen to different kinds of music, then what we bring to the table is a different perspective. And so when you're writing as a cohesive group of people, you're just coming up with crazy stuff because you're all coming from a different place, right?
Without Mercy's vocalist Alexis Ness has released a bunch of vocal covers on YouTube that have become quite popular. We asked her if those have had a positive effect on the band.
Oh, absolutely, actually. There's 2 main reasons why I did that in the first place. The first one was just to challenge myself vocally, because I do some very specific things in this band. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of cover other bands whose vocalists do things different than what I've ever done, just to push myself further. And the other reason why I did them was to give our band, people that might not have come across our band, always link our band to the page, and they'll hear my vocals, and if they like the vocals, they'll check out the band. So we've had a lot of people check out the band because of those. So it's kind of a win-win on both fronts.
Yeah.
Well, we did just just hire a brand new bass player. So we had a new bass player came in. We're going to make sure he learns the other 5 tunes. We're going to start writing more tunes, make plans for another tour, another album, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's basically, keep on keeping on.
We don't get complacent, I guess is the term. We're always freaking working. Where we're from, there are a couple months of the year that are dead for shows given the weather situation, but no, we fill our time pretty damn busy.
I highly suggest if you get a chance you check out Without Mercy live. They're a killer band, and I hear they're recording some new material, so I'm definitely going to be looking forward to that. Well, that's going to do it for another episode of Extreme Metal Television. I'd like to thank all you guys for watching. Also like to thank my co-host, Dr. Gore. But before we let you guys go, Matt Harvey from Exhume's going to share a terrible tale from the road. And until next time, guys, see ya.
I think that the most fun we've ever had on tour was 2003 or 2004. We did a tour with Symbolic Carnage again, and then Hume in Europe, and we were on the same flight over with Symbolic Carnage, and we just kept, it was a flight with free beer, so we just were drinking, hanging out in the back of the plane and just helping ourselves, and so we were already pretty stewed by the time we landed, and we got to the hotel where we were supposed to check in because the tour started the next day, and we couldn't check in because you had to wait till a certain time. Then it started raining, so like any band on a record label, we went crying to our record label like, help us, we have no money, we spent it all on beer. And so they found us a hotel across the street. We checked in and we went to the bar there, and the dude that was running the front desk was also running the bar. So every time he left to go to the front desk, we just went behind the bar and kept pouring our own drinks. And I mean, yes, I know Canadian beer is a little bit stronger than American beer, but Belgian beer is fucking strong. That's where we were. We were in Belgium. And so we were just getting shithoused. And then the next guy came and started working the bar. He was getting pretty pissed off, but we just kept drinking. And our old guitar player, Mike, somehow ended up on top of a bunch of tables and fell over. And anyway, then the Belgian policeman came. And see, in America, like, our policemen, like, beat the shit out of people and arrest people for no reason and throw you down on the pavement and kick you. You guys don't have that problem in Canada. Your cops are very nice. And so are the police in Belgium. So the guy very nice was like, excuse me, guys, I think you're going to have to go. So finally, by that point, I mean, we were all just obliterated. And, so we went to the hotel, and nobody got arrested, nobody went to jail, we did the whole tour. And that was just the first day of the tour, so anyway, you told me to keep it brief, so I'll stop it there.